Welcome to the crypt. I'm going to give you some cryptic lessons in what is literature and what isn't literature, what is poetry and what isn't poetry. At least that's what I think I'm going to do. It's August 7th, 9:58. Let's put it this way, I'm going to attempt to do it. This means that you'll have to have an open mind and not have a closed mind as to accepting a new definition that I'm going to give you right now. This is literature. Right? Fyodor Dostoevsky, Notes from Underground. He was a Russian anarchist as a student, and this is about his life in the underground. His later novels are about his life above ground when he discovered Jesus Christ and his struggle to know who God was. All the questions he has are in these Crime and Punishment and the devils and the possessed, the devils. It's all Christian language, correct? All right? So there's a worldview here that's pre-existent that Dostoevsky is a part of, a little tiny part of, and knows he's a part of it. You go forward, to this guy, the socialist, communist, whatever you want to call him, H.G. Wells. Island of Dr. Moreau is not literature. It's sci-fi fantasy. Literature has to have the quality of truth. If it's going to make it as world literature and go forward in time, like the Bible, like Homer, like Dante. Those are all poets, incidentally, just in case you were unaware of this. So literature and poetry are linked, but they're also linked in that they're the truth of the Homeric world, the Greek world, the Greco-Roman world, in one, the truth of the Christian world in the other, Dante, Homer and Dante. This is just bullshit. It's like whatever fantasy world that H.G. Wells, socialist fantasy world he wants to live in, and then talk about, the horrors of science. But nobody pays any attention because they think it's cool. Because really, don't you want to watch Dr. Moreau movies and read Dr. Moreau books and experience Dr. Moreau lifestyle and the Hunger Games? Guaranteed you will. But that's if you don't decide you're going to get real and understand the truth and reality. And this notion that you can just have the Bible is the only book you need, that's complete rubbish. It wasn't the only book that Paul needed, St. Paul. He had to have familiarized himself with all the other world religions to be able to present his case for why my religion is the true religion. Not only that, the Bible is God's perspective. All these other books are human beings' perspective. So you can look at these human beings like Dante or Homer, and you can say, is that the true perspective? Is that God? Or is, the Greek gods on Olympus God? So you can think. You can't think. If this is all you're reading is this stuff, it gets even worse. You get Bob Dylan and Dylan Thomas. Dylan Thomas is gibberish. Look at the art, and this is the art, right? That's the art of the gibberish writers. It's called surrealism. It comes from Rimbaud, and it comes from Baudelaire, and it comes from Mallarmé, and it comes from a lot of these French writers and Edgar Allan Poe, Rimbaud and Poe, right? It's gibberish. They derange the senses. Where are you going to go in your life, much less the afterlife, if all you're doing is reading? Fantasy gibberish, and particularly because all the fantasies are about, guess what? Necrophilia, premature burial, if somebody's dead under the earth, Mask of the Red Death, viruses, pestilence, Hop Frog is up in the chandelier. The chandelier is going to come down and impale all the party goers at the Red Death. You know, the Kubrick movie kind of thing. He should have done the Mask of the Red Death. That would be even better. But Peckinpah went out, or Tarantino should do it, you know, because by and large, you know, Stanley just went for the little in and out, you know, as they say in Clockwork Orange. And, you know, pixelated fornication, let's just call it, since we're being literary about things. This is another, this is, what's this? That's programming. That's somebody just writing whatever comes into their head, and it turns out to be that it's satanic, because it turns out to be white noise. He's describing a toxic mushroom cloud. Bhopal happened after that. Then Palestine. It's screamingly obvious symbolically in the word Palestine that that's what's going to happen to Palestine, the Middle East. First you had Palestine, Ohio, and it's not known in advance of the same White Noise book to the White Noise movie that takes place in Palestine, Ohio. And they've hired the people who are going to be, and Pete Buttigieg sends it off. It had to be set up. They had to ignite it. They did. There wasn't a big explosion. Pete Buttigieg, who's off with his husband, is nursing a baby, so Pete Buttigieg was otherwise occupied. Yeah, they're all occupied by the same old thing, you know. The little in-out. So I'm just making that one point. Like when I refer to literature, I mean this, you know, people who are highly intelligent, were connected to the real world, knew the consequences of a false belief system, saw it happening. He's watching the collapse, just like Tolstoy, another great writer who became a Christian in similar circumstance. When you're facing death and you come to your senses, but you've already been alert and involved in thinking how serious life is, and that the choices you make have everything to do with your end time, you know, whether that's in the end times or whether that's when you're dying in a earthquake or a fire or tornadoes or all these inexplicable things that are going on. They're perfectly explicable if you read scripture, and also you're reading literature, or you're reading real history. Not all the 60s revisionist bullshit. Noam Chomsky, Howard Zinn's History of the People. What does he know about the people? What does Noam Chomsky know about the people? Less than George Bush. Sitting up they're sitting in their university writing plays with Howard. You know, the people are going to revolt. George Orwell, we're going to take over. We're going to take you. Hey, you've done a great job. How about stopping, you know, and looking around and seeing the comedy that's going on, because Dante called it how God sees it, the divine comedy. He's not laughing in any charitable way, though. Like the blind leading the blind. He's laughing in that way, as I've had it, you know. These people are either going to obey me or they're going to be obliterated to a person. So it's time to wake up. Instead of what I'm hearing, comedy this morning, as always, it's queued up. It's a woman that's been punched out, right? black, face all swollen, knocked unconscious in Cincinnati. Where else? Where the Robert Mapplethorpe show caused all that sensation. All the well-hung black guys with Gucci jeans or whatever they're wearing, and a bullwhip in his ass, and he everybody loves Robert Mapplethorpe, don't they? He's the god he's the pan god. He has his Satan horns and everything, like Matthew Barney and Norman Mailer and all. The sphincter cycle, the cremaster cycle. He's floating, going down the Guggenheim with an oil. So he's a fashion model. He's an actor. Matthew Barney. It doesn't, like Barney Rubble, or, Barney the dinosaur or whatever. The big puffy dinosaur who's purple, and the purple dragon, and the red dragon. All this stuff is really, if you understand reality and history, it's really clear what God is saying, and because he's always been saying it. He's been saying it over and over and over and over again. To me, at least. So, the woman gets punched out. Why? Because she tries to break up a fight with a bunch of black people at a jazz concert. The first time I was saying, black people rioting at a jazz concert? What kind of jazz are they listening to? It's all this crap jazz. That's right. It's not. The music it's uniformly monotonous and about getting revved up, and sex, and I'll be your baby tonight, and lay lady lay, and everybody wants to get stoned, and freedom in the USA. We got the freedom. I saw a Neil Young album, Freedom, $80 or $70 at a vinyl. I'm not buying anywhere. I just, I survey where the mind of the culture is. Is anybody paying $80 for a Neil Young album? Except in Canada, because he's Canadian. Yeah, nobody else knows who the hell he is or cares. And particularly, the only people who care are those who worship the hippiedom. They aspire to the socialist heaven of hippiedom. Everybody's tattooed and in the mud with Love Boys, right? Chrissy Hind and the Love Boys. The Kinks. It's a poor substitute for intelligence in a real life, that's for sure. I don't understand it myself. How people don't want to educate themselves and see how incredible life is, what life has to offer. Life being Jesus Christ, incidentally. But it does come with the requirement of some kind of discipline and lack of brawling at a jazz concert. So get this, Charlie Sheen, Charlie Sheen, the great white hope of the Christians. He sends her money. He said, we're all here for you. We're the people. Charlie Sheen in Hollywood, white. It's turned into a racial event. It's not some stupid woman. Hey, that's a stupid move. Sorry. When I see, I don't care what color they are, when I see them going after each other, I didn't jump in there saying, hey, we want to be in peace, let's leave. Or, pow, you're just in the way of a blow. They don't even know they wouldn't. People who are in the middle of, a blood feud, right, where somebody can get killed in a second. And that's the whole point of the fight when you're having that kind of brawl. It's like, who in their right mind, except a hippie love child of the peace generation, like Charlie Sheen himself. It's comic, but like in God's eyes, obviously, that's the reason he's eliminating the Jews in Israel, and the whites, the blacks, whoever is going along with it. Doesn't matter what your color, creed, or viewpoint is. It's like you're out of your mind to think this is what you're doing while we're in World War III and the economy is collapsing. You're out at a jazz. Oh, I'm sure it's free because, Cincinnati, it's where all the liberal, conservative, it doesn't matter what they call themselves, it's all the same thing. In every town and everywhere, Berg. It's fantasy land. Is how long are we going to go on? Avoiding any kind of truth or education. Here's one more book that I want to get into. There's another program, The Day of the Locust, Nathaniel West, Jewish Hollywood guy, dies in a car, kind of like James Dean and all. They suddenly mysteriously die right at the top of their success. What's The Day of the Locust about? It's about the end of Los Angeles and fire, burning in fire and flame, which is what's happening now. And it's about cockfighting is in it and all the fakery and the reality of the sex, what indifference, the murder, all of it is Sodom and Gomorrah. I mean, what's hard to understand? Charlie Sheen and the Sheens and Martin Sheen and all the shiny, bright, angelic ones who intervene to stop, bring peace. They're not bringing, what is that, bringing peace? Then the black mayor says she got what she deserved. It's like the OJ case. Bitch got what she deserved. I mean, she's screwing a Jewish guy. Everybody knows. I mean, I knew that. I mean, it's not like it was just coincidental that a Jewish guy happened to be there. Because, Jewish guys, they're good guys. They're really good guys. No, that's why OJ was in a fury, just like, Lee Morgan's wife shot him, the great trumpeter. He's fantastic. He's one of my favorite jazz musicians. And I'm listening to Lee Morgan this morning. And it's angelic music. It's just beautiful, beautiful stuff. But the guy was the worst. He's a junkie who, like Coltrane, basically. Same story, incidentally. And that's why I'm not crazy. I think Coltrane's phony stuff. Miles Davis too, but that's just me. Because it doesn't have any real authentic feeling in it. It's all borrowed. It's emotion, but Lee Morgan's does. And so did Charlie Parker say. See, I differentiate between fakery, pop fake, the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, all this fakery, and the real blues guy, the guy who, like Chet Baker, that, they aren't faking anything. He dies, and look at how they die. He dies with Flea, Red Hot Chili Peppers, and this rapist, homosexual that made the film. They're out there. Let's have Chet Baker in his his sepulchral ending. He's withered, and he ends up dying at the end. Interesting. Jumps out of the window, just like they always jump out of the window, or falls out of the window. Something happened, right? And then we find out, those of us who are paying attention and who watch this kind of stuff, like myself, I think it's just me, probably. Bruce Weber comes up on charges just like Epstein, all at the same time, and then it disappears. It's like James Toback. These guys are gonna, show up. I'll check it out. I'll look up Bruce Weber. But just like the Epstein, this is like, oh no, it's just Prince Andrew. Turns out, we got him. Sir Mick, Sir Elton John, and all the rest of this. No, there's none of this buggery going on. Nobody's hurt. Believe me, nobody's hurt. They all just love it. So it's the lies and the hypocrisy, but I'll still listen to Lee Morgan, like this morning. Like I'll listen to old blues guys, because, that was God-sent music. Whether they screwed up, it doesn't mean the music isn't wonderful. And that's why I can't deal with Christians. I mean, they have like the worst taste in music. It's the worst music. It's inauthentic and lousy. I mean, it's not even good music, musically. It's like bad country and western or bad reggae or whatever. You know, if you want to listen to Eminem, listen to Eminem. Toby Mac or Toby Keith. I don't even, you know, all the Tobys, Toby or not Toby. I'd rather they weren't. They just burn all. And you see it. Where do you see it? I go to Savers to see it. I can maybe find a decent, you know, Ella Fitzgerald or something, because she's a big pop star. You'll find Ella. Or Billie Holiday, because they're big pop stars. You know, the Billie Holiday was set up by the Jews, Marxists. You know, with the song, so she becomes the poster girl, and then she's, you know, murdered, killed off under drug. Nobody takes care of her. They don't care about Billie Holiday or racism. What they care about is setting up, you know, anger between the, you know, we are oppressed people. Oh, the Jews are oppressed, the blacks are oppressed, everybody's oppressed. We're going to get justice. You're not going to get justice. You're going to end up like Billie Holiday or Ozzy Osbourne or whatever. And calling them Christians is just the biggest deception. It's to say there really isn't a Christ because, you know, Alice Cooper is one and all this. And the Christians are validating it, meaning they're not Christians either. That's where I'm coming from. It's like there's a small remnant of Christians, but there is a faithful and devout number of people all over the world. Join us. What do you got to lose besides your dope habit and your false friends and false culture? Now, all right, let's see. What else did I have to say? Did I finish the story about the woman punched out and Charlie Sheen? I mean, it's screamingly obvious to me. How sincere is Charlie Sheen? Oh, he's going to get his name burnished. He's, you know, he's like Keanu Reeves now. I mean, Mark Wahlberg, all of them, Tom Hanks, they give, I keep saying. Oh, the other one I have, sorry, Barron Trump. And Melania, well, what's her name? I don't know, the Obama girl, Melania, I don't know, Malaka, Malink. Oh, she's Makaka, oh, I'm a racist. I just don't know names. It's like, who cares? Obama's older daughter, I guess, Malia. Yeah, Maul. I'm sure there's a Maul in there, evil in there somewhere. Like Barron Trump. I'd seen an earlier one, you know, with Barron Trump has a secret love for Obama's oldest daughter, who's black, you know, black and white theme, brother. And then, I don't have anything opinion on the subject of blacks and whites together, other than is it real or is it Memorex? You know, is it real or is it this simulated AI reality? This is the simulated AI reality to date, right? Then this one turns out, let's just call her Malia. Malia Obama is really, she's not getting married. But if she wanted to get married, the only person that would be for her was Barron Trump, because he's 2 meters high. So I guess I'm in Canadian system, whatever, a meter. You know, you see he's this, you know, Ichabod Crane there. So, and he's such a gentleman, and he's so studious, and he speaks 5 languages. I'm going, yeah, sure, just like everybody else. He studies him. He's on the golf course and functions and everything, but after a hard day on the golf course and managing this, he's off in his room, Romania. I mean, you can't. I'm falling over laughing at these things, but when I see George Carlin or Robin Williams or somebody, it's like, what's funny about this? What's funny? Oh, like George Carlin said, it's a club and you're not in it. So, yeah, duh. It's so what? What's funny about that? What's insightful about it? Because he's in the club, obviously, anybody up there, you know, with Donald Trump and Melania Obama and the rest are in the club. And on Johnny Carson all his life, and at Las Vegas, he's in the club. So, you know, good for him. But Trump, why are these guys pretending to be men of the people? Charlie Sheen and George Carlin and Robin Williams or whoever. They're men of the people. They have nothing to do with the people. They live lives at the top of Mount Olympus. So, you know, if you want to go up there, you know, you're there. All you have to do is plug in to, you know, just keep watching them. There is life outside of Hollywood and the Hollywood Squares and the comedy clubs. And pretty soon, there's not going to be any life inside Hollywood, is what my message is. Pretty soon, California is just not going to exist as a state because the Lord has declared this. That's all, folks. God bless.